Hey guys, I'm Rich from NeoWin, and today we're unboxing the Lenovo ThinkPad T490. So, the 490 is the latest generation of Lenovo's 14-inch workhorse, and the T series is the most popular ThinkPad that exists. It's the most reliable, it's time tested. Everybody loves the T series. Okay? So, the one they sent me has a Core i7-8565U. It has terabyte SSD, 16 gigs of RAM, so it should be a pretty solid device. They do offer it with cellular, but I'm guessing this one doesn't have it because Lenovo never sends me anything cellular. Except, I should say, for the Windows on ARM devices, those have cellular built in. So here we have it. This is the ThinkPad T490. Okay, you can see it has the older ThinkPad logo on this side. I don't know why I'm pointing at this side. The X1s, the new premium devices, have a black logo, and Lenovo is sticking with that logo on the non-X1 devices. Let's see what else is in the box here. We're gonna have a power cable. I'm guessing 65 watts. Most of these come with 65 watt chargers. And yes, 65 watt USB Type-C. It's exactly what you would expect. So what's new about the T490 over last year's T480? Well, there's a couple things. It has slimmer bezels. Lenovo says that it has 22% slimmer bezels than it did in the last generation. You can see it is quite small. It's glossy. As you can see, there's a lot of reflection there. No touch. And this, well, it does have touch models. So one thing, oh wow. I've been saying this a lot when unboxing stuff, but I just opened this for the first time, and we just installed some drivers. There are some more display options with this model now. Like I said, 14-inch display, that hasn't changed, but now you can configure it with 1440p instead of just 1080p, which is nice. If you go down the display options that Lenovo offers, though, it's a little strange because some of them are regular, some of them say anti-glare. This one actually says glare. They're not even trying to hide the fact that this is so glossy. I'm just going to close out some of these windows here because we were left... Okay, so there doesn't seem to be a lot going on. We can see we have our standard Lenovo ThinkPad background. That's fine. So yeah, it supports Dolby Vision though. So this is becoming more premium of a device. 1440p Dolby Vision was previously limited to, I think, just the X1 devices. There might have been a couple others, but so you can get a much nicer screen with the T series now. It's very nice. Dolby Vision is lovely. I was disappointed last year when they introduced it in the X1 because they also killed off the OLED model at the same time, but it's almost as good. The colors are vibrant. It's going to look beautiful. So you can see we have a 180-degree hinge, which is standard for a ThinkPad clamshell. There is no yoga model. There's the T490, which is this one right here, and then there's the T490S, which is a slimmer model compared to this. Another thing that's new is an option for MX250 graphics. That's kind of a lower-end GPU from NVIDIA. It's a GeForce MX250. It's not going to be a beast of a GPU, but it's definitely better than not having a GPU. I can tell you that much. There's also up-firing speakers. You can see that right here we have a speaker bar right above the keyboard. So that's going to be much better audio quality. ThinkPads have struggled with this up until a couple years ago. I think they really started taking audio quality seriously. So that's a cool thing. Far-field microphones for Cortana activation. It says in the guide Cortana, but you could use it for Alexa as well. But Cortana is really aimed more at businesses. We have the ThinkShutter privacy guard at the top here, and what that does is it just blocks your camera. And when you see a little red dot over the camera, that means that the camera's blocked, and that's it. Okay. Other than that, pretty standard ThinkPad design. It's made out of polyphenylene sulfide and 50% glass fiber. The bottom is made out of polyamide. I have never seen these words before in my life. Okay? And I'm going to look them up later. And also 50% glass fiber. I can say glass fiber. I know how to say that. All right. Like I said, Core i7-8565U, that's from the Intel Whiskey Lake family. It's sort of a second generation, eighth generation CPU. The first generation was KB Lake R, and KB Lake R was really just like 7th gen chips, but quad core instead of dual core. And then they did Whiskey Lake, which is a little bit faster. Then we got 9th gen on the way later this year. So 16 gigs DDR4, 14-inch display, 1 terabyte PCIe NVMe Opal 2.0 M2. And then we have ports. Lots of ports. Like I said, workhorse, I should say. I was almost said workstation, but it's not a workstation. You'll notice that you can't swap out the battery on this one. That was one feature that we previously had, and it's gone now. You know, swappable batteries, field workers particularly, if you're in the field and the battery's not holding up, you can just take it out, put in a new one. A lot of laptops for that use case have hot swappable batteries where there's an internal battery and an external battery. So that internal battery still has power, so you could just pull out the external battery and put in a new one without ever turning off the device. So you can't do that with this. Like I said, ports. This machine has ports. 2 USB Type-C ports over here. We have USB 3.1 Gen 1, which is 5 gigabits per second, and then the second one is Thunderbolt 3, and it's also made for mechanical docking. So Thunderbolt 3, 40 gigabits per second versus USB 3.1 Gen 1, and obviously you could do a lot more. You could power the device with either one of them. Also, the USB Type-A ports, we have one on this side as well. They're all USB 3.1 Gen 1. We have HDMI 1.4, which is kind of disappointing because it's always nice to see HDMI 2.0. You get that 4K output. 3.5 millimeter combo audio. We have a micro SD slot over here. Another USB Type-A and Ethernet on this side. By the way, you will also find a SIM slot on the back over here. It's it frustrates me so much with Lenovo laptops because anybody who follows my work knows that I love ThinkPads. I think they're the best laptops around, although HP makes some pretty good ones now. But I want a PC with cellular. So every time I get one, I see the SIM slot on the back, and I go, this might be it. But it's not, because Lenovo just uses the same chassis for all of the devices. And then if it supports cellular, then the SIM card actually does something. If it doesn't, it's just a SIM slot that's there for no reason. Okay, so here's a closer look. As I said, we have our privacy guard up here, and you get that little red dot right in the camera. If you have it on, that means that it's off, and you won't be able to use that camera. Also, there's an IR camera here for Windows Hello, and that guard will cover that as well. So if you keep that closed all the time, you will not be able to use the IR camera for facial recognition. We do have a fingerprint sensor on the bottom here as well if you decide to go with that. ThinkPad keyboard. You'll notice the keys are raised a little bit more than they are on a yoga model. It's the best keyboard around. ThinkPads always have the best keyboard around. You also have the trackpad with its physical buttons for using with that. The thing is, you get one of the, you could call it the Cadillac of keyboards because it's just that good. It's comfortable, it's quiet, it's precise, and you get it on pretty much all ThinkPads. You get one of the best keyboard experiences on all ThinkPads. And other companies only put those really good keyboards in very premium models. So it's cool that you can do this. I mean, this model is kind of spec'd out where it's, obviously it has that beautiful Dolby Vision display, Core i7 terabyte SSD, 16 gigs of RAM, but it should start at like under $1,000 if you get a Core i5, HD screen. And it's going to be a lovely device. Like I said, it is the most popular ThinkPad on the market. I gotta say, I love the improvements that they made here. They did a great job. I did review the T490 last year. Great machine, solid machine. This is also great and solid. But I love that they're offering it with Dolby Vision 1440p. Personally, I think that 1080p isn't quite enough at 14 inches. Even at 13 inches, I think 1440p is a sweet spot. Once you go to 4K, it starts affecting the battery a little too much. But 1440p is high enough that you don't see pixelation, low enough that it doesn't really affect the battery life. And this is a great machine for a non. I mean, the X1 is the premium lineup, right? For something that's not in the X1 lineup, I think this is a great device. It comes in at 3.23 pounds, which is not by any means heavy for a clamshell, especially a one that's billed as a workhorse. It's not nearly as light as a ThinkPad X1 Carbon, which is around 2.4 pounds, or the X1 Yoga, which is around 2.9 pounds or under 3 pounds. So, if you're going for a light machine, generally the mark, I'd say for a convertible, the mark is for under 3 pounds, and for a clamshell is probably for under 2.5 pounds. But this doesn't feel heavy. It feels solid. It feels comfortable. I don't think that you're gonna pick this up and go, whoa. It's I think it's right about where it should be for the kind of PC that it is. So pretty cool. I do kind of wish it had touch. I do wish everything had touch. You know what I'm saying? Even clamshells, because I just find myself just touching the screen occasionally. Although, I mean, it's not like it's something you need. You'll be all right. It's just that occasional time. At the same time, one thing that's great about not having touch is not getting fingerprints on the screen. You know what I mean? It's just, sometimes you just touch the screen occasionally and then you boot up your PC one day and it's just covered in fingerprints. So, very glossy screen. I gotta say, this is one of the glossier screens that I've ever seen. So we'll test that out. I'm curious to see how it's going to go in bright sunlight, although it is a very bright display. The Dolby Vision is beautiful. I like it on a convertible specifically because watching movies and stuff is just a better experience on a convertible, in my opinion. All right, guys, that's it. I gotta say, a lot of times with the non-X1 ThinkPads, what ends up happening is you see processor upgrades. This year they shrunk down the bezels on a lot of them, but a lot of times you'll just see all right, so what's new with this one? It has 8th generation processors now. Great, and that's a solid bump from 7th gen, to be clear. Dual core to quad core. There was a big bump in performance there. Although this year it's just 8th gen Kaby Lake R to Whiskey Lake, and there's a lot here that's actually a real improvement over the T480. I'm looking forward to spending more time with it. So stay tuned for that. I'll have a review in about a month. I'm Rich from NeoWin. Have a great night.